I recently got my hands on a large number of old 78 records. Unfortunately, my record player just doesn't have what it takes. And I found myself looking for somewhere to keep them safely until I was ready for them. Ideally, you'd store vinyl records in sleeves to prevent them scratching. However, 78s aren't actually made of vinyl, rather they're made from a shellac resin. This makes them far more prone to breaking and cracking, however they're much more resistant to scratches than vinyl, and as such, while sleeves exist for 78s, they weren't originally sold with them, and can actually be stacked together. However, they shouldn't have too much weight on them, so storing them upright rather than stacked is important. As a temporary, but still kinda long-term solution, I decided to make a custom cardboard box out of some scraps. For this project, I used offcuts of corrugated cardboard boxes, the type used for packing white goods and TVs or for shipping. After flattening the cardboard, I measured the diameter of the record and cut, scored and folded the cardboard so that the record fits snugly between the sides, and it was the same height. The length is arbitrary and just impacts how many records will fit in the box. Scoring the cardboard for folding without cutting into it can be a bit tricky, but I found that squeezing it with the corner of the level worked really well. Note the corrugations here are parallel with the folds to prevent sagging in the middle. I then cut out another piece of cardboard the same width and height as the box, with an extra couple of centimetres around the edge. I just used the width of the ruler for this. I then cut out the corners and bent up some returns. I did this again for the other end cap and then glued them into position. I'm just using wood glue, but craft glue is basically the same thing. I wouldn't use hot glue for this though, as it doesn't have a strong enough bond. I then used books to clamp the pieces together for about 10 minutes. Next I cut out another rectangle of cardboard the same length as the box, and pi times the radius of the record. I didn't actually calculate this, I just wrapped the cardboard around the record until it covered half of it and marked it off. It is important, however, that the corrugations on this piece run the other way. This greatly increases the strength of the box. I then gently folded it into a semicircle and test fitted in the box with the record. I decided that I actually wanted it a bit shorter, so I marked it off and trimmed it before gluing the bottom and the sides in place. Then I got a bit distracted. Next up was the lid. This was just the same width and height as the box, with again about a ruler's width added on. Unlike the ends, I didn't cut the corners out, I just trimmed them like this, folded them over, glued and clamped them with laundry pegs. Finally, for some added strength, I wrapped the box in packing tape. I gave it all a couple of hours for the glue to dry properly, and then it was time to fill it. It turns out that I overestimated how many records I actually had, so I rolled up some cardboard to fill in the gaps. If I was doing this again, I would definitely make 2 or 3 smaller boxes rather than the big one. The records are really heavy. They weigh about 280 grams each, and they're about 4.5 millimeters thick, which means that every 10 centimeters of box length when it's full is about 12.5 kilos. It's not a perfect solution, but it's cheap, fairly quick, and it'll keep them safe until I can find a better solution.